The best place to play FC25 are current-gen consoles, the Xbox Series S, Series X, PS5, or a powerful gaming PC. But not everyone has those. A lot of gamers are still on PS4, Xbox One, and certainly a lot of kids are still using their Nintendo Switch as their main gaming platform. So how does FC24 compare on the Nintendo Switch versus PlayStation 4 versus the powerful PlayStation 5? And of course, I'll also talk about FC25 on Xbox One. This comparison is gonna go a lot like last year's FC24 comparison between the three consoles, but there are differences, so stick around to find out more. Let's start with the game size. It's 29.8 gigabytes on Nintendo Switch, 47.5 on PS4, and 54.7 on PS5. On the original Switch or the Switch Lite with just 32 gigs of memory, you'll need a SD card. With the new OLED model 64 gig memory though, you shouldn't require one. Loading times are up next. Going from the main menu to kickoff takes 35 seconds on Nintendo Switch, about 31 seconds on PS4, and a much faster 15 seconds on PlayStation 5. I also did the same test on Xbox One, and that takes 31 seconds, identical to PS4. On the current gen PS5 and Series X, when you went from FIFA 23 to 24 to 25, there was a clear improvement in the lighting and the visuals. We now have ray tracing, better lighting and shadows. The game just seems to be brighter and more vibrant. The physics, player movements, player controls, it's all been slightly refined on PlayStation 5. The current gen Nintendo Switch and PS4 don't get those refinements this year. On the pitch and from a gameplay standpoint, FC25 on Switch and PS4 is more or less the same game as last year's FC24. Looking at the Switch here though, I guess the lighting's improved slightly. Even on the Switch, FC25 just looks more colorful, more vibrant compared to FC24. In terms of the game modes, all the content is here on the Switch and PS4. PS4 and PS5 get essentially the same menus and dynamic backgrounds. On Switch, the menus do look the same, but there is no dynamic background here. It's just a static image. Once you load into a game, the starting presentations, the intros are also different. Nintendo Switch and PS4 get the same intros as last year's game. On PS5, things have been tweaked a little bit. Notice how there's no kids walking out with the players during the intros on the Switch and PS4. I guess the weaker last gen can't handle that many NPCs. During the intros, the frame rate is 30 FPS with a target resolution of 1080p on the Switch and PS4. PS5 is also 30 FPS cutscenes with a target resolution of 4K dynamic. During the gameplay, the frame rate gets a bump to 60 FPS, but only on the PS4 and PS5. Nintendo Switch stays at 30 FPS. Target resolution is 1080p on the Switch and PS4, while it's 1440p dynamic on PS5. When you zoom in, the player models appear a lot more pixelated on Nintendo Switch, sort of like a mobile game. Xbox One is similar to PS4, the same resolution and graphics. Player models on the current gen PS5 get a boost from that ray tracing. Light hits the player faces and the shadows are improved. On Switch and PS4, the models seem to be a copy and paste from FC24. Sure, some players do get updated haircuts like Trent Alexander-Arnold. As you zoom in though, you see the difference in quality here. As expected, Nintendo Switch models are the worst, the least amount of detail, but I guess it's still not as bad as other games like Mortal Kombat 1 on the Switch. Now let's talk about the performance, the FPS. Intros, replays, cutscenes, they're all limited to 30 FPS on every single console. And during the intros, there are drops. Nintendo Switch especially drops to 20 FPS. PS4 and PS5 aren't as bad, they're still drops, but only by a single frame here and there. Xbox One is perhaps a little worse than PS4 as it does get drops as well as screen tearing. During the core gameplay, Nintendo Switch stays at that 30 FPS, while PS4 and PS5 get a bump to 60 FPS. And the frame rate's pretty well a solid lock here on all three consoles. There aren't any drops. I guess on PS4 and PS5, when you do score a goal, for example, you'll notice the FPS dip down to 30 and then jump back up to 60 when the game restarts. Now I should point out, not all gameplay is 60 FPS. If you play a lot of career mode and you like playing in that pro camera angle, the target frame rate in that case is going to be 30 FPS, and that's on every single console, even PlayStation 5. But at least it's a stable FPS with just some minor drops of a frame here and there on the Nintendo Switch. Xbox One gets the same treatment as the PS4, 60 FPS during the core gameplay like you see up on the screen, and it is a stable 60 FPS. Of course, with the pro camera and the cutscenes, all of that even on Xbox One is going to be 30 FPS as well. The big loser here in FPS and performance is the Nintendo Switch. 30 FPS for a high-intensity competitive game like FC 25 is horrible. I mean, this is straight out criminal. We got FIFA 17 all the way to FIFA 23 as a legacy edition on Nintendo Switch, which did suck. Last year when we finally got a non-legacy edition on the Switch, I mean, I was really happy. But you know what? It kind of sucks. At least those legacy editions were 60 FPS gameplay. The new Frostbite engine on FC 24 and now FC 25 just isn't meant for the Switch. We need a Switch 2, man. This thing is just so sluggish and slow at 30 FPS. And it's not just the FPS that's horrible. The controls feel off. There seems to be a delay in your input and the players reacting. It's like you're playing a cloud game or something. I did a little test, in fact, to prove that, and here are the results. Here on PS4, I hit the left joystick to start running, and it takes my player 9 frames to react. On Nintendo Switch, I did the same thing and it takes 19 frames. That's more than double when it comes to the reaction time. Beyond these technical issues, there is missing content on Nintendo Switch in career mode. Thing is, Switch isn't an online type of console. Most Switch players are going to play FC 25 in single player, and a lot of owners are going to play the career mode. Thing is, career mode is dumbed down on the Switch. See this story cutscene I'm showing here on PS4 and PS5? It's completely missing from the Switch. So in between matches, all you're going to be doing is scrolling through menus. And that's what you need to know about EA Sports FC 25 on Nintendo Switch versus Xbox One versus PS4 versus PlayStation 5. For the rest of the video, check out some more gameplay with that FPS counter shown.
Fired over by Messi. Well, that opening goal proved to be. Koke. To take the lead. Oh yes, a goal! And a historic moment to boot.
Well, that's a big moment for them.
Can they produce something? And there it breaks down, but credit to the defence. Mbappe. The fans are shouting, shoot. Oh, it's gone in! Just what they wanted. Prepare for promotion.
Well, surely they can't.
Federico Di Marco. Martinez. Moving the ball nicely, but can they forge ahead? Must take the lead here. He's done it! What a moment! The opening goal in this Champions League final. And just look at the celebrations.